conversations, let's think about a more prosaic brand like an air freshening brand. Oh, an air freshening brand has no role on Facebook. Well, actually, if you own a pet or if you smoke cigarettes or something like that, that's actually highly relevant for you at particular points. So relevance is key. I think we would say you don't need to feel that you need to be pushing stuff out every single day. We still find out when we work with advertisers that 60, 70, 80% of the posts that they're pushing out are seen by less than 5 to 10,000 people. So you're going to a lot of effort to create a piece of content, but it's not really being seen by anybody. So I think unless, for example, you're in a sort of, for example, the US midterm elections have just happened. I think where you have things changing on a daily basis, you might need to be pushing information out on a daily basis. But for most brands, it's better to think about what is the best, most relevant content and push that out and make sure that it is seen at scale. And don't feel that you need to be doing it all the time.
Is your content, Khaled, only shared on one or two platforms? I mean, if you create content, surely your website and many other avenues, where do you distribute your content? How do you amplify that?
First, I think we're trying to customize content. I think one of the things or one of the points that are relevant to talk about when we talk about content is that we actually spend a lot more time debating the media choice between traditional and social or digital. I think content is the biggest challenge. And I think within that, there is something that is not only relevant to social media or digital, it's that the consumers, and I definitely feel this in our part of the world, I'm not sure whether this is proven yet out of our region, but the perception of advertising, of a direct branded communication message that comes to you as a consumer is really, really in trouble in this region. So there's a high anti-advertising sentiment amongst consumers, and this is very clear. We see it whenever we put an ad, a typical ad, in a YouTube show, for example, when we put a very obvious intervention kind of product placement, and we see it in the comments, and we see it in the dislikes, and we see it in the so. The challenge in content is not only relevant to what are you going to put on Facebook or on Twitter, but it's really how are you communicating with the consumer? Do you actually know what is the message that would make the consumer like, consider, try, and buy your brand? If you know that, creating content will be a much easier job. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be a much easier job.
You have to try it and learn, I assume.
Yes. Yeah.
You mentioned the organic numbers, and I think it's something a lot of people in this room want to hear more about. A lot of brands spent a lot of money growing number of followers. They used to get high reach, but so many brands now, definitely the organic reach drops, and it's whether it's from a natural progression because there's so much content on Facebook, but at the same time, Facebook is putting in effort to mix up paid and organic. Let me hear from Facebook. Where are we on that? What can brands learn about that? What should they know and what should they do?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that. So organic reach has gone down considerably and will continue to go down.
That's what we call free.
Oh, yes, that's free. Yes, exactly, free reach. So it's gone down and it will continue to go down. If you just go back 3 years. There were about 800 million people on Facebook. And now, Jonathan pointed out, there's 1.35 billion people on Facebook, of which I think it's something like 860 million people are coming back every single day. Meanwhile, in addition to all these people joining the service, we've had masses and masses of new brands joining the platform, new charities, new organizations, et cetera, et cetera. So the absolute number of content on the platform has increased in an exponential order of magnitude. But the amount of time that we are all spending on Facebook has stayed the same in terms of the number of times that we go on. So what you've got there is if you will, a fight for airspace within the feed. And so everybody's content has now a less chance, if you will, my content and that of a brands and that of a charitable organizations has a smaller content of being shown organically. And it's basically the law of large numbers. And I think that is, so that is the sort of the fact of the matter, but that's been very hard for page owners and businesses and brands, because to see that free reach decline is, nobody likes to see that, and we're extremely empathetic about that. I think the solace here is that reaching a small number of people, we know this with television and we know this with print, reaching a small number of people, even when it's free, if it doesn't actually correlate with any kind of meaningful business outcomes that Khaled was talking about earlier, then how much value is that? And what we're seeing is there's a lot more value to clients of any size when you can actually reach the people that matter to you at scale. And I can't stress that enough. I said earlier, there's a huge number of people's posts that are reaching a very small number of people, and people are not aware of that. And it's one of the big eye-opener for brands, both large and small, is, wow, if I really need to reach the people who are in the market for this particular car, and there are 6 million of them in this universe, and I'm actually reaching 320,000 of them, I can't really expect to have a positive business outcome.
So should brands be spending to grow followers, or spend more on advertising?
No, we don't.
Where's the balance on that now?
We do not recommend people continue to spend their investment acquiring fans. We recommend that people spend their investment reaching the people that matter to them.
And that's where content comes to play, that you have something to share. I mean, someone on the wall shared they'd like to hear more about storytelling versus content. Do you have a story to the content you create, or it's just, is there, you mentioned platforms to me in the conversation, you mentioned health. Can you be more specific in the type of stories you're creating?
Some of them are stories. So one of the examples that we're very proud of is we created a platform where we were really trying to, we've identified an insight within the Saudi community and amongst the youth specifically, that volunteerism is a trend, and we didn't find kind of any single entity that was actually trying to organize this. So
young people volunteering their time.
Yes, volunteering their time, their effort, going on and doing social initiatives, be it as small as going to the beach and cleaning it. Going and helping people in need, going to an orphanage and spending time with children over there. So we created a movement that was basically a hashtag with a very short descriptive video of the concept and and it wasn't branded. So we released it. We released the video, asking people that if you have an idea to share, please share it with us. If you have time to donate from your time, then please register your name because we might need you. Or if you see something that you really like and you think that this is a green initiative, please let us know and share it with other people. And we then revealed, once the interest was there, we revealed that okay, Rabia as a brand is behind this. We're going to enable this platform to be created. We're gonna fund where funding is needed. We're gonna help. We're gonna support, and we're gonna. So that was a story, and we created a lot of content ourselves. But the majority of the content, if you look at the hashtag today, whether the content on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, the majority of it, I think 70–80% of it, is actually user-generated content that are talking about initiatives that they've done, ideas that they had, ideas that they would like to see in the community.
And does research show that they attributed this to Rabia?
Yes.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yes.
That's excellent.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you brought up the storytelling and creativity. I think it's very important. This year at the Festival of Creativity at Cannes, I would say it was a bit of a sort of watershed moment actually for many digital platforms. I only can speak for Facebook, but I think it's broadly true. The last sort of 3 years conversations were, okay, I'm interested in Facebook. I want to get going with you, but I'm not actually sure whether I can sell cases. Can I attribute business outcomes to you? Okay, so 3 years later, reams of data later, yes. Okay, well, and what we also know is that Facebook advertising works from an offline sales point of view, just like out-of-home advertising and print advertising and so on. So what that means is 99 out of 100 people who have purchased a product, that we can attribute that to Facebook, 99 out of 100 who have purchased did not click on the ad. Right? Okay. So 99 out of 100 people were exposed to the ad, did not click on it. In the same way as when I drive past a billboard or walk past a billboard, for example, in a subway, I don't stop and click it, I don't click the television, I'm exposed to an impression. So, okay. If the impression matters in terms of driving business outcomes, then it really, really matters what I put in that impression. And this goes back to some of the organizational question. It means that this work has to be done and put a lot of focus on. So if you put it out to a satellite group, I mean, we even hear stories of large companies who have this managed social media by the intern. If it's not being managed by an expert, then you probably can't expect great creativity. Mm-hmm. So point number one, I would say, is that creativity is absolutely key. The second is in terms of storytelling. The advantage of Facebook and a lot of digital platforms is that you can sequentially tell a story. So once I know you've seen a video, I can send you wave 2. Yeah. Okay, so for example, Progressive Insurance in the US, their insight is a lot of young drivers, young males who've just started driving, they're still on their parents' insurance. So they run an ad that basically says, don't be a baby, get your own insurance. Once I know you've watched that, I can then target you with the next thing, which is sign up for Progressive. This is a much more powerful way of storytelling and a much more effective way of storytelling.
Okay. I've got a few more minutes, and I want to touch upon mobile. I think smartphones are dominating Saudi. We know from many of the websites we represent, leading websites, that anywhere from 50 to 80% of traffic comes from smartphone devices. Yeah. But advertising-wise, it's not even close to that. Yes, through social and other mediums, they're touching upon that audience. But there isn't a major focus on this, I think Jonathan mentioned, on this mobile-first type approach. I read a nice quote that one can say that mobile is disrupting the web just as web disrupted print. And yes. How important is mobile to your organization? What have you been doing? Can you share some with your fellow peers?
Well, it's definitely important. After seeing the slide today, I think